So Sammy strained his groin just a bit, and we held him out today. And then Alex Brown tore his ACL yesterday, and obviously he didn't practice. Antonio Hamilton, slight groin strain. Darius Harris was excused. Lavert Hill, again, had a strain, hamstring. And then let me flip it over here real quick. Fish had a concussion, so he's in the protocol now. With that, it's good to get out here and to work and get our practice in. We've had a couple, 3 days here with pads on and a ramp-up period. Each day was a little different time than the next, and just increasing it as we go to our normal time. So anyways, I'm pleased with the attitude and the work and how they've gone about their business. And it's a great challenge, offense and defense. The ones get to compete a lot against each other, and that does nothing but make each side better. And then the twos likewise get to compete against the twos. And again, that's great competition there too. So anyways, the time's yours on this.
Go to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy, how you doing?
Great, thank you, Adam.
First, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was there today, obviously, but didn't do much. What's going on with him, number one? Number two, it was that throw that Pat made toward the end of practice in the 7-on-7 when he was kind of drifting to his left and threw Dieter in the end zone. I mean, that's pretty impressive stuff. Do you still think that way? Do you ever stop and catch yourself going, wow, that's a pretty impressive throw when he does those kinds of things? Or have you seen it enough from him now where you kind of maybe immune to it a little bit?
No, I don't. I appreciate the his talents, and I remind the coaches of that often, that just doesn't happen all the time with every quarterback. So, but he makes it look easy and does it time after time. So, but you don't ever get satisfied or complacent with those. You enjoy each one of them. As far as Clyde was a bit dehydrated, so we just held him out a little bit.
Let's go to Sam Mellinger. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy. Thanks for the time here.
Yes.
Kind of a housekeeping thing, but Chad Henne's taken, it looks like, almost all the snaps with the twos. I'm just wondering, I know you're comfortable with both those guys, but what, at least at this moment, is kind of separating those?
Yeah, Chad is the number two, so we want to make sure we get him enough rep. This is what we're in a time period now, kind of a time crunch with the way the ramp up is set. So you want to make sure the guys get enough reps in there to, within that time constraint. So the threes get shortchanged just a little bit.
Let's go to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Andy, good to see you.
Hi,
Two questions for you. With understanding, because of the time crunch, how much have you figured that you guys have seen from Clyde that you kind of have an idea of what you want to work on moving forward as you have more padded practices? And within that, because of the situation going on right now with the secondary, the amount of injuries you guys have had, just what are your thoughts of how that group has looked so far, particularly guys like Tedrick Thompson, Armani Watts, and Dan Sorensen, given where Juan Thornhill is in his sort of rehab right now?
Yeah, so I think it's been great for those guys. Continuity is important back there, opportunities to play with one another. I think both groups are doing well, and it's given us a chance to look at some of the twos in there. So, and really some of the threes. We had a lot of numbers there at that position, so secondary position. So we were good. What was your first question?
Just now with
you guys are learning how to use this thing. You throw about 3 fastballs at me at a time. That's right. I get it.
Yeah, we're trying to get through it all, Andy, with you here. The other one was with, seeing Clyde for 2 padded practices now. Just what do you want to get out of him as you get through the rest of the padded practices? Do you have a better idea of what you want to work on now that you've seen something more, resembling football? Yeah, no,
I think he's doing a good job. He just needs reps and continue to practice. So that becomes important for him. Practice time is important for him.
Let's go to Herbie. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned some depth there. I'm going to go on the offensive side. You seem to have a spirited battle there with Derek Jeter as well as Jody Fortson. What are you seeing out of them at this camp especially with Jody Fortson?
Yeah, listen, he feels more comfortable out there, and he's learning. Dieter has every position down and knows them all. Not that they're in competition necessarily, but they're all just trying to do the best they can do. So, and listen, we're getting good work out of them, great reps to get on tape so we can evaluate them. And so Jody, this is new as of last year for him. And we started him off as a tight end, if you remember. And now we've moved him out to wide receiver. So this is every rep, again, is a great rep for him.
Let's go to Vahe. Go ahead, Vahe.
Hey, Andy. Last year, Patrick, after his first season as the full-time starter, wins the MVP, and then really seemed to take his offseason in a whole new direction in terms of just working all the harder and developing more. And I'm curious what you've seen in him that way this offseason. Clearly, he's just further invigorated, I think. But what ways have you seen him do that?
Yeah, I thought he attacked the offseason aggressively. He was on every Zoom meeting we had, asked great questions, which he normally does. Wants to know everything, wants you to feed him new plays, and wants to continue to grow. And that's about all you can ask. Every opportunity he had to throw, he got his guys together and they threw. And so, my hat goes off to him on the way he's approached it.
Let's go to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Thanks, Coach, as always. Just curious about Clyde. It might be too early to tell, and I know he was limited today, but I was wondering what you and Eric Bieniemy think about him when it comes to pass protection so far early in camp.
Yeah, you know what? He's a real smart kid, so he's picking it up, and he wants to be good. So that's a good combination to have, and he has the talent to go with it. He's strong. He's short, but he's strong, and so he gets himself in good position with his quickness and his leverage, and does a good job with protection. He has a pretty good base of what's going on with it and who's coming and who the offensive line has and his responsibilities. So, but listen, reps will continue to help that.
Let's go to Seren Petra. Go ahead, Seren.
Excuse me, Coach. Thank you very much for the time. First of all, can you talk a little bit about, you've talked about how Mahomes has worked and things. I know you've been in the league a long time, but like, how do you work differently? How do you try to grow and call in things for Patrick? Is it like, putting more on his plate? Is it, is there a process to you that you kind of do a checklist in the off season on how you're working? And then like everyone else, my other side of that is if you could comment, Eric Bieniemy kind of stole the show yesterday. He called Patrick Mahomes a quote, competitive prick. And then he explained what he meant by that. Just your reaction to that way to frame it. I mean, I thought it was perfect, in getting his point across as to what he was saying, but just your reaction to kind of, how he labeled that.
Yeah, well, we get to see it every day. We get to see how competitive he is. It's something that the fans only get to see on game days. We get to see it every day, and he keeps practice alive, challenges the defense, and it really makes everybody around him better just by his attitude and how he goes about it. And so, and I think if you talk to people, he probably competes at everything he does. As far as myself, listen, we always try to grow, and I'm lucky enough to have the Eric Bieniemys and Greg Lewis's and Mike Kafka, Tom, all these guys, Joe Blameyer, these guys, Dylan McCullough, they're all in it to grow, and so I love that part of it, and so they're always bringing ideas to the table. And even though we were doing it over Zoom, we were or WebEx, we were able to grow and kind of do it together. And I love that. I mean, that's the fun part of this thing, and bouncing ideas off of each other.
Let's go to Nick Jacobs. Go ahead, Nick.
Andy, my question for you is, given that you don't have preseason games, what are you having to adjust differently so you can get some of those answers on the final players for roster spots?
Yeah. So we're trying to practice them and let them go. And we try to keep it as fast as you can so you get some form of evaluation of the guys. And, and then you got to shoot. Yeah, you don't have that game part of it, but you're not going to be able to get that either. but you know how we do practices and how fast we go, and so you see how guys compete, and there's enough competition on both sides that it should draw the best out of you, if you're willing for it to do that, and so that becomes important. And then we do it day in and day out. I mean, these guys, they're going on their third day of pads, and they've got a 10-10-10 tomorrow, and they're working, and so you get an idea, a pretty good idea, I think, when we're all said and done here, of what you got.
All right, guys, we got time for a couple more. Let's go Breland and then Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Breland.
Good morning, Andy. I just kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit on Alex Smith. We all know that he is cleared now to play football, and I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that miraculous journey that he's taken.
Yeah, how great is that, man? I'm so happy for him. I know how he is. He's dirty tough, and he loves playing the game. He didn't want it to end the way it ended with the leg, and so now he's back. And we all saw I guess it was 30-36, whatever it was, the 30-36, the special on him. He did in the rehab that he went through, that day in and day out grind of the rehab. So I'm happy for him. I'm very, very happy for him. I'm happy for the Washington team too, to have him.
Let's go to Matt Derrick to finish it off. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. I know you've got a lot of guys right now that are nursing some groin, hamstring injuries. Not sure that's a big surprise out of the offseason. How are you and the training staff working on just dealing with some of those soft tissue injuries to make sure you're not pushing guys too hard? And also, any clarification on Derek Nottie, because I'm not sure he's worked in pads yet.
Yeah, so Derek had the ankle, so we're just kind of easing him back in. The soft tissues are the same as it is every year. You get into that third and fourth practice, and guys are sore, normally in the groin area. That's how it works. And so, that's what we're still dealing with that now. And it's right about the same number as we have every year. So it hasn't been anything crazy.